Hello there, Riderflex Nation. Steve Urban here with more career advice and job interviewing tips for you. And as a quick reminder, if you enjoy our podcast, please remember to subscribe to our channel and like the episodes. And today, a quick conversation on what I think is the key to success as a professional. Often in my career, especially as an executive, having run a couple of companies as a CEO, etc., and having been in a leadership role really since probably the late 80s, believe it or not, I'm that old. People often ask me, what are the keys to success, or how did you get to be a president of a company or a CEO or a COO? How'd you get there? How'd you do that? What are the keys? What's the magic pill, etc., etc.? Over the years, I've developed a pretty clear answer for that, and it's something that I teach my own sons about as they are young men early in their careers. I want to give you my 4 buckets or 4 main reasons for success, and I believe this applies to just about any type of profession, almost any type of profession. Here we go. Here are the big 4 reasons for success, I think, in my own career, and I think this affects most people. Number 1, people skills. Do you have the ability to get along with all types of personalities and styles? Can you work a room and figure out how to push people's buttons to get them to work together or do things, etc.? People skills. Do you have people skills? Can you handle any type of situation and any type of personality? Number 2, work ethic. I grew up in Oklahoma and was raised on a smaller farm with some acreage, and my dad was an oil field worker and my mom was a bank teller, and quite frankly, we were a blue-collar family, and work ethic was something that was instilled in you early on. And I'll just tell you, I think it helped me in life. And if you don't have work ethic, if you're not the first one there or the last one to leave quite often, if you just don't get after it every day when you get up, you're not going to be successful. I don't care how smart you are or how high your IQ is. If you don't work really hard and you don't work harder than the average groups of people in the building, you're not going to be successful. I've always pushed myself to be the guy that's putting in most of the effort or more effort than the average Joe. And I think that's helped me in life. And I think it really is a major factor in whether or not you end up as a successful professional. Next, common sense, really common sense. And I put that over education and book smarts or IQ. Just good common sense. Do you make good, rational, logical decisions when you're faced with different situations? Do you have the ability to look at a situation and make a good common sense decision to figure out the problem or to get out of it or to deal with it, etc.? I've worked with many, many, many smart people, folks with much higher IQs than me, and they often just don't have the basic common sense to make good, rational decisions. And then finally, the 4th bucket is what I would call, let's just call it a leadership bucket, or the guts to step into a leadership role. So let's go back here. I mentioned people skills, work ethic, common sense, right? Those are the first 3 I mentioned. The 4th one is the leadership piece. Do you have the guts to step forward as a leader? Do you take on that responsibility? Do you raise your hand and say, yes, I want more responsibility, I can handle it, and I want to lead people. I want to be the person that's responsible for that team. By the way, that's a lot of pressure, and most people, quite frankly, can't handle it. And if you're brave enough to step into that and raise your hand for it and accept that responsibility, you'll definitely have a much better chance of being successful in your career, because most people won't. Most people sit back and and wait to be promoted into a leadership role, or most people don't never raise their hand, or they're just simply too scared, or they don't want the pressure. And if you raise your hand and you're aggressive and you say, yes, I'll take it, I'll take that responsibility, and you're very vocal about it, and you let your supervisors know that you're ready for it, you'll move up much, much faster. So there you go, folks. People skills, work ethic, common sense, and leadership skills. You do those 4 things really, really well, and you capture those 4 buckets really well, you are going to be successful in whatever it is you decide to do for a living, I can promise you. We truly hope you find our material helpful and entertaining. And while our podcast can be heard across most platforms, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud, you can become a supporter of this podcast by visiting our show on the platform Anchor FM. That's anchor.fm/Riderflex. You can also send us your questions or suggested topics for future episodes to the email address podcast@riderflex.com, or drop us a voicemail at 888-964-5876, extension 710. Visit riderflex.com to learn more about us. Thanks so much for listening, folks, and have a great day.